Everybody, welcome to the Don J MMA podcast. I do apologise. Today we're going to be talking about the UFC that was not in Mexico, which I stupidly said it was. Don Dada, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I mean, I'm good. It actually was a decent card for a fight night. That was good. That was better than the last weekend's pay-per-view.
A title
Um,
fight on a fight night. First of all, do you agree with it?
yes, yeah. Depending on how big of a star they are, like realistically, Valentina and Grasso aren't going to headline. I don't think they should a pay-per-view of $70, to be
Mhm.
honest, unless it's stacked from top to bottom. But like this card was good, but it's not like a pay-per-view card, I don't think. Like,
Oh yeah, I was going to say I think it draws a lot of viewers in that maybe if it's free on ESPN or BT Sport, they just have it. Maybe they're just looking at a title fight's on tonight. Let's just see what that's all about. And I just think it's a good way to get viewers in. But at the same time, um, yeah, I don't know. Title fights on fight nights. I mean, I'm here for it. I like it,
yeah,
but it's
I
strange
think
at the
it's
same
good.
time.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. I thought it was a good card. The prelims, we're just going to run through these quickly, the prelims, because there's quite a lot to say about some stuff in the main card. But um, Alex Reyes coming back after 5 years, gets smoked in a round.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was so obvious.
yeah, I mean, I think the guy should just stick to being a trainer, if I'm being honest. Tracy
Yeah.
Cortez, she looks good. On the feet, she's good. Um,
Yes, Tracy Cortez, she's still young. She's got a decent record, a decent winning streak. She's obviously got a bigger fan base behind her. And I just think, yeah, I think
yeah,
she's,
it was a good fight as well.
yeah,
What else do you want to talk about? Yes, this one here, Roman Kopylov. That guy's deadly. A
yeah.
middleweight.
And it
See
was a
that
very
finish.
favourable matchup for him. I think the UFC knew what they were doing there.
Yeah, I think now at the age of 32, they need to up the competition. But yeah, that was a solid win for him. Now on to the main card.
Kyle
I got
Nelson
this.
and oh my lord, Kyle Nelson. Is it Kyle Nelson? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that man was throwing hammers. Like they were like nuclear missiles in his right overhands that he was launching.
yeah. Now I did do a three-fight fold for this, and this fight was the one that done me out of it. Now I had picked Padilla to win this. Kyle Nelson, in his last few fights, I noticed anyway, I didn't think he was that active, and his cardio isn't that great. So it seemed to be like he was less active to
Yeah,
prolong his cardio. That just wasn't the case in this fight. A good performance from him. I mean,
Padilla
yeah,
looked awful. I
yeah,
mean,
he
I have to
did look
say
great.
his offense was okay. His right cross was pretty nice, but he has like super. His shoulders are super like up near his head. The right stiff, and I mean, he had no head movement at all. Like he was just coming forward trying to make it a war. And Kyle Nelson picked him apart. I will say Nelson looked a little bit sloppy at times. Like he's not super technical. He reminds me of Josh Emmett a little bit at
Yeah,
times, where he just has that overhand that you've just got to respect. But he was a pretty good fight overall.
yeah, that was the thing with this card. Most of the fights were pretty decent. So they were. Next up, we've got Zell Huber got the win over Gallegos. I think I've said his second name right. I butchered it
And
in my prediction video.
Zell Huber's he's pretty good, I have to say. I was pretty
Yeah,
impressed with him. That anaconda choke, he cinched it up easily, very quickly too. Brandon Moreno, who actually I just like to mention was pretty good. I didn't know Brandon Moreno's English was that good. He talked a bit fast at times, but I actually liked Brandon Moreno's commentary. I could definitely tell what he was trying to say. And yeah, Zell Huber for me, again, a very favourable matchup for him. He made Yargos panic shoot, as the commentary said. It's not just me who came up with that. And then he cinches him up in an anaconda choke. But before that, his striking and fluidity in his combinations was pretty impressive.
yeah. Quite a lot of these Mexican fighters that were on this card kind of had favorable matchups. That was the whole card was based around Mexico. What was it like? Uh, Fight
Mexican
night.
Independence Day,
Yeah, I don't know
Fight
what
Night
day is it,
Noche.
or something. Yeah, so it was
Yeah,
all around them. But yeah, most of them had good performances. Zell Hooper had a good performance. I didn't think he was going to get a submission, but that was impressive. He got the submission. Next up on the card, we've got Raul Rosas Jr. and let me just make sure I'm saying his name right here. Yeah, Terrence Mitchell. I don't know why I forgot his first name there. What did you think of that performance?
Terrence Mitchell needs to be cut from the UFC.
Yeah, yeah.
In my opinion, look, Terrence Mitchell. I feel like I knew this was going to happen. The UFC definitely didn't want Raul to lose again, right? They wanted to get that hype back. Here's the thing: Raul Rosas will lose a lot of fights before he really enters his prime. He's only young; he's 18, but how strong he is and how high level his grappling is at the age of 18, like a good grappler will do that to Terrence Mitchell. Like a good grappler will be able to get him in full mount pretty easily and finish him off. Raul Rosas Jr. is 18. Now his striking is awful, borderlining. He has a lot of power, a lot of athleticism. He's improved since his last fight. He was actually throwing on the feet this time, Don, compared to his last fight. He was just panic shooting constantly. But
yeah,
it's just, in my opinion, the UFC definitely went safe for this fight just to build some hype back up for Raul.
yeah. Terrence Mitchell offered him nothing in there, really. I
Nothing.
thought
But he
Rosas Jr.
cracked him a few times.
Yeah, I thought Rosas Jr. might have struggled with the length of Terrence
Mm.
Mitchell, but he didn't. Um, he just froze. Terrence Mitchell just froze in there. But yeah, like you said, the UFC handpicked this guy for
Yeah.
Raul Rosas Jr. to win after his last performance. But this is the thing at bantamweight. Who does he fight next? Because I was looking down through the bantamweight rankings, and it's not as if like there's many cans in that division where he can build his name off. Like I don't know if you remember from the Max Holloway Korean Zombie card. There's a fighter that I follow, and I actually think he could be bantamweight champion in the future, Rinya Nakamura. If you put him in there against Raul Rosas Jr., he gets smoked. He gets destroyed by Nakamura. So I don't know like how they
Here's my thing.
try and
I
build him
think
up.
the UFC need to put hype onto other fighters through Raul. Now, I'm not saying I think Raul again. I said it. He'll lose quite a few times, in my opinion, but I'll let it slide because I see the talent. I really do. When people say, "Oh, he's overrated," he is in terms of you can't look at him right now and say he's going to be champion. But here's what he does have: tremendous power, athleticism, speed, and he's a very good grappler, a very, very good grappler at the age of 18. And in my opinion, like how he sat Terrence Mitchell down, he wasn't doing that in other fights, so he's improving.
Yeah,
Um, so in my opinion, if you put him in there with a Nakamura might batter him, but at the end of the day, he can't have these easy fights. He needs to be in there, especially bantamweight. There's just no such thing at a certain point where it comes to easy fights. Raul will have to step up eventually. And if the UFC want to capitalize on Nakamura's potential, getting some hype on him from a Raul fight would definitely be great.
yeah. That the way he sat Terrence Mitchell down was hilarious. Like that knockdown was funny. Like, but in fairness to Raul Rosas Jr., he looks so aggressive when he get in there. Like he was aggressive, looking for the
Yeah.
finish. And but yeah, there's not really much to say. This was one of them ones that you knew what was going to happen. Realistically, I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't
A lot of
expect him to
people,
do that, but I knew he was
a
going to beat
lot,
him.
yeah, a lot of people were saying like Raul was going to lose. I saw a lot of people saying, he's overhyped, he's going to lose. But these are the kind of matchups like it happened with Sean O'Malley back in the day. Like these are a lot of these matchups now. The UFC tried to step him up a little bit and he got sat back down. So they will do this for a few more fights, in my opinion.
Yeah, they'll have like another fight like this, maybe another two. They'll step him up again. If he loses, right back down, start again. But
Yeah.
the other thing is as well, if the UFC see him as a star, they're not going to stick him in there with someone that's going to beat him again right off the bat. Because say he's 18 years of age, they put all this hype on him. Say he gets beat again, like what does that do to the guy's confidence? Like, do you remember Alex Hernandez at lightweight? Remember
Yeah.
they'd matched him up against Cerrone. They
And
thought, right,
Cerrone
this
just,
is it. Yeah, he
yeah.
fucking smoked him, and the guy hasn't been the same since. So I understand why they're doing it. I mean, they want to build future stars, and
Yeah.
I mean, I can't really make out some of the stuff he says, in fairness, and that's not me being a
No.
dick, but
Yeah.
He's marketable and he's 18.
Meet
Then
me.
yeah, I see that everywhere. Then on to the co-main event. This let me down, this fight, to be honest. JDM Kevin Holland. What do you think of it?
So I thought Jack Della would win. The reason why is because I've lost hope for Kevin Holland. Um, it's annoying. It's actually really annoying. Um, I'm starting to find it because how many times is Kevin Holland just gonna talk and not do anything? Kevin Holland, he'll look super impressive against Michael Chiesa. In fact, he'll even submit Michael Chiesa. That's not an easy task. Michael Chiesa's no joke on the ground.
Yeah.
Jack Della Maddalena, I knew he'd win. I knew he'd bully him in a way. It was a competitive fight. A few people actually think Kevin Holland won,
No,
but I do not see it at all. And I made
no,
a
me
video on
neither.
it yesterday. Kevin Holland's shoulder rolling guard, it doesn't work. Like Dominic Cruz is proper. I don't want to be too blunt, but BJing Kevin Holland about, oh, he's got this really good shoulder roll. It's not working. It's costing him. Jack Della Maddalena would throw a combination and Kevin Holland would leap like a salmon up a mountain far away, all the way to the other side of the octagon at times. Why the hell is he giving Jack Della Maddalena that much room? But also, Jack Della Maddalena looked okay, but I definitely think there was times when he had Kevin Holland against the cage. I don't know if he was respecting his power, but he definitely could have punished him a bit more. But I just don't think Kevin Holland made Jack Della Maddalena get out of first gear.
Yeah, it was weird. It's like you said, it was a close enough fight, and I know on this, if you look at the stats, Kevin Holland did outland him, I think, in the second and third round. But I don't know how anybody scored that fight for Kevin Holland at all.
No,
The
no.
like the Maybe he threw more shots, as the stats say, but the quality of shots that JDM was throwing were much better than Kevin Holland's. And another thing, why did he keep turning his back? Like, why did he keep doing that? And I just didn't get that. Why he kept turning his back, and
Yeah,
every
he'll
time
turn
he
his
turned his
back at
back,
Dominic Cruz is like, yeah, but this is working. No.
yeah, he turned his back, and then JDM would close the distance and then go body head body, and he was just landing on him. And like I had said, I hold my hands up. I said Kevin Holland would win this by submission. I thought he would have dropped JDM in the matchup, followed him down, and submitted him, but he didn't really use his length. He didn't really use his reach at all. He had an 8-inch reach advantage in this matchup. I thought that was going to play massively into it. He just kept like when JDM would have a high guard, he didn't like look to go to the body or anything like that. He just kept tapping onto his guard. It looked like Kevin Holland was in there to spar with him, to be honest. There wasn't much. It didn't really look like to me that he wanted to win that matchup, to be honest. I
It's
thought
how
it was
many
going to be a
times is this
war.
going to happen though? Like how many
Yeah.
times is Kevin Holland? Like how many times are we going to see Kevin Holland build a bit of hype, finish a few opponents? Kevin Holland has bags of talent. A lot of people might disagree with this. I really believe Kevin Holland could have gone right to the top. He had so much talent. He's just too busy yapping and not improving. And this isn't, it sounds like I'm hating on him. I really like Kevin Holland. I'm a fan of him. It comes from an area of frustration for me when I see Kevin Holland fight and I feel like he's not performing to his absolute best. I just He just does so many things that infuriate me where I'm like, just keep it simple, Kevin. Like he has so much power. Like Jack Della Maddalena, how many fighters does Jack Della Maddalena let off the hook when they're pressed against the cage? That says something. You know, if Jack Della Maddalena has you against that cage, usually he's going to slaughter you, quite literally. But I don't know. I feel like there's more to Kevin Holland than he's showing.
Yeah, I mean, after hearing stuff where he says he doesn't even really care about the belt anymore, it's like
Yeah. He's
another
becoming an
thing
Nate
is,
Diaz in a way.
yeah, it feels as if though, like if Kevin Holland actually isn't winning the fight when it starts, if you know what I mean, like if he isn't actually like having success immediately, like the
He
fights
gives
like
up.
they just slip away from him. Like, and now I know his wrestling offense isn't that great, but he shot one takedown. Like, this isn't going your way. Like, mix it up. you're much better in terms of jiu-jitsu on the mat than JDM, and we've seen him get exposed in his last matchup. Yes, Kevin Holland isn't that type of wrestler, but at least shoot for something. Like, try and do something different instead of like turning around and letting him kick you in the arse and then like smiling about it. It's like, do you want to win this or not? I mean, honestly, I thought Kevin Holland, the move down to welterweight, would have been really good for his career, and I thought he actually would have been able to push up into the top five. I don't even know now if he'll break into the top 10. Just looking at who you
Yeah,
have
like
for
Hamza,
welterweight.
like the Hamzat Chimaev fight, absolutely. It feels like it took his soul in a way. Like Hamzat Chimaev destroys him, and it's like he improves drastically in his jiu-jitsu, right? I mean, he showed actually good jiu-jitsu against Hamzat. It sounds strange, but his like defense was pretty
Yeah, the
solid. It's
roll out
just
of the
Hamzat's
stuff.
on an absolute different planet. But I really don't. Again, I keep saying it, but it's just I feel like there's just so much more to Kevin Holland than he's showing. But it's like that. How many fighters in history have been that way? You know, Kevin Holland is just one of those fighters, in my opinion, that it's just going to be this way forever. Like some nights he'll look like an unreal world beater, and then other nights he'll look bang average.
Yeah, he's still young. Like he probably could make a run for a title. He might actually make a run for the title. You don't know because that's the thing with him. He's so inconsistent. There's times where you look at him, you go, right, this guy's actually going to push on for the belt here. And then there's times like you've seen on Saturday where it's like this guy doesn't even look interested really. Um, but I made a video on this and I actually hope it happens. The UFC have said about coming back to Ireland for an event. JDM versus Ian Gary. Make that a 5 round main event fight night. Make it
Yeah, that'd
happen.
be so good. I mean, first of all, before we move on to the main event, Jack Della Maddalena versus Ian Gary, Don Dada. Who do you have?
Ian Gary. Ian Gary beats him.
See,
I think he's just too slick on the feet for him.
he's super long, isn't he, compared to Jack Della
Yeah.
Maddalena? I'm pretty
And he'll
sure.
actually use the advantages that he has, he will use, like the range and things like that, where Kevin Holland didn't.
For me, it depends, like how much. Because if Jack Della Maddalena comes in and it's a very slow pace first round, and Ian Gary kind of builds up, I think he could give Ian Gary will kind of pick him off. But if Jack comes in and really asserts himself, if it's in Ireland, we all know, no offense, but we all know that Ian Gary won't lose a decision.
No.
But it's understandable, but it's very true. I do believe Ian Gary would win this fight. Ian Gary's super underrated, actually. And I know he's from the UK, so it's a bit of bias from our part. But at the end of the day, I'm not saying Ian Gary's going to be champion, but I'm seeing a lot of people saying like Jack would destroy him. Why? Based off this Kevin Holland fight, why the hell do you think Ian Gary will get destroyed by Jack Della Maddalena?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking about matchups to make after this event, and that's the one that really stuck out to me. I think it makes sense because both guys are outside of the top 10. Wonderboy doesn't want to fight Ian Gary. I thought that was a good call out. Wonderboy's not going to fight JDM if he's not going to fight Ian Gary. So put these two together, have it a fight night main event, and then the winner gets pushed up into the top half of the welterweight
And
division.
the winner probably gets a lot of hype.
Yeah, like it's a big fight. That's a
Yeah,
big fight, wherever it is.
yeah.
Now on to the main event. Controversial to some people. A draw. What do you think?
I personally gave the fight to Valentina Shevchenko. I just watched it today for the first time, so I've not rewatched it, people. This is a big disclaimer. But I gave Shevchenko the first round, which I think was one of the closest rounds. And the fifth round with that judge that said it was a 10-8 round, I really didn't agree with that at all. That was a
No,
terrible, terrible scoring.
I didn't
Um,
agree with the 10-8 at all in the fifth round. If you were going to give a 10-8 in any round, I'm pretty sure, I'm trying to remember. I haven't rewatched it. I watched it on the night. I think it was the second round, sorry, where Garasso had some success in it. I think, is that the round where she dropped her?
yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to give a 10-8 round, then give it there. But again, is that even a 10-8 round? I don't know. Round five
Not,
isn't a
it's not,
10-8 round.
it's, it's one of those things where, first of all, I'd like to say as well, I'm really, really glad someone is finally pushing Valentina to her absolute limits. I'm glad we finally got someone. We had it with Amanda Nunes, but Amanda Nunes is the weight above. And I don't think there's really an interest for Amanda to return and fight Valentina. So I'm glad that Valentina, in her own way, has someone in Alexa Grasso that no doubt they'll have a third fight now. And I just think, like, each time, like, even though Grasso got a draw and a win before, like, you could just see how high level Grasso is. And I just think it's a breath of fresh air, is basically what I'm trying to say. I'm glad someone's finally giving Valentina a tough fight.
Yeah, it's good to see. And I mean, they did take a bit of damage in that matchup. Valentina's thumb, I think, is injured now. I don't know if it's broke or whatever, but that means she's going to be out for a while. Valentina's 35, so I don't know how long it takes to heal a thumb, and how bad it is. But then to get this fight rebooked, Alexa Grasso is 30. I think this benefits her, to be honest.
It does.
I think in the trilogy she wins. Yeah, I mean, it's good to see that there's a mix up now, because quite a lot for the women's divisions, it was always Amanda Nunes was set to fight, beat whoever. Valentina was set to fight, she'd beat whoever. So it's good now to see there's competition in these weight classes. But yeah,
and now it's even like Zhang Weili. No
yeah,
one, even Zhang Weili, like, apart from Rose, who just lost, I believe. Like,
yeah,
everyone's like, no one's beating Zhang Weili. It's a common theme and the UFC really needs to find a better talent pool for these women's weight classes.
yeah. But yeah, they need to make this third fight, obviously. I mean, it's the one that makes the most sense. It's a draw. But yeah, like I said, Grasso will win this trilogy, in my opinion. I think time isn't on Valentina's side, as we can see here with her being 35 years of age. It was a good fight. And I'm looking forward to see the trilogy, to be honest. I thought it was a
Who
good
did you
card
give it to?
overall. I think on first watch, I had given it to Shevchenko as well, to be honest. I haven't rewatched it. I didn't agree with the 10-8 at all. I thought it was competitive. It was a close fight.
Everywhere. It was competitive in the clinch, competitive on the ground, competitive on the feet. The only thing I will say is I think early on, the low calf kicks were there for Valentina and she just didn't use them enough. Maybe she was worried about a takedown or Grasso mixing it up, but Grasso's very heavy on that lead leg in this fight. I just think, again, super high level women's MMA. There's been so much domination over the years that I've kind of forgot what it actually looks like.
Yeah.
So again, Grasso, I like Grasso, and the thing is, this isn't coming from a place of bias to Valentina. We both, I don't know if you did, but I certainly predicted Grasso to win this
Yeah, so
fight.
did I.
But I have to be honest, I really did think Valentina did enough.
I'd picked Grasso to win by decision. But
Yeah.
I mean, great fight. Hopefully, we do get to see the trilogy soon. And what I want to talk about is the belt. Shit. I fucking hate these designs and these belts. They're ass. It's like the BMF belt. Get rid of them. Just keep them normal. I think that Mexican Independence one or whatever it is just stupid looking.
Like, I said it in the video. So I personally like it, right? So I'm going
That's
to
why I
disagree
bought
with
it
you on
up.
it.
I seen your
Yeah.
video. That's why I bought it up.
I personally, I don't know if I like the Mexican independence design, but I like how it's a bit cool. Like, I think Champions, not the BMF belt, the BMF belt's a different story, but Champions, I feel like even just Sean Strickland with that tape that he put on the UFC belt, it's Sean Strickland. Like,
Yeah.
you see that tape on that belt and you think Sean Strickland. Like, I think when they are champions, customizing their own kind of belt or at least having their own replica that they can keep that's designed specifically for them is pretty cool. But I definitely see what you're saying. And I also said in that video, there was no way Valentina was winning that belt. That belt was designed for Mexico Independence Day. And of course, Valentina was never winning it. That belt was only ever going to one person. And I don't want to accuse the UFC of doing this because it's starting to wind me up a little bit. I don't know if it's the UFC or what specifically, but I'm going to say right now, corruption is starting to make its way into the UFC or into MMA. And it's been doing it slowly over the past year in particular. These terrible, terrible judges, right? And people laugh and joke about that 10-8 round. It's not funny. It's actually not. That is terrible judging. Me and the Don could sit right now and I could watch that fight in that tiny little corner that I see Don Dada in right now, and I still wouldn't score that as badly as they did. And that's me basically being unsighted. I'm sick of these shit judges, to be honest with you, people. And I'm sick of the fact that Grasso that was a draw. I'm surprised it was a draw on Mexico Independence Day, to be honest with you, because I think if Grasso won, the outrage would be so bad that I don't know. But that belt was only ever going to one person, and that was Alexa Grasso. And as much as I like the fact fighters get their own design belts, that's the part of it that really, to be honest with you, fucks me off, because it's just I'm sick of this, and I got sick of it with boxing. I got sick of it with boxing, specifically Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder won. That was one of the fights that made me stop watching boxing in a hardcore manner. And I swear to fuck, I will devote my life to calling this corruption out if it continues. It's seriously pissing me off.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they knew they couldn't give it to Grasso, so they're like, right, we could probably get away with a draw. Like if we
Yeah.
say a draw, it's not that bad. Like it was a close fight. Yes, I do think Shevchenko won it, but like I get what you mean, especially when they're in the cage with that belt as well. It's like Valentina's never getting that wrapped around her waist, like never.
If it was a one-sided beatdown from Valentina, I guarantee Grasso still wouldn't have lost. I can honestly tell you that, people. Sometimes, it's like I said before with Ian Gary in Ireland, Leon Edwards in the UK, in England specifically. I Darren Till in Liverpool against Stephen Wonderboy, on Mexico Independence Day, whether it's in Mexico or not, Grasso was never losing that fight. And one thing that pissed me off as well is Grasso celebrating a draw. Like she was
Yeah,
smiling
why?
when a hand was raised. Why the fuck are you celebrating a draw? It adds to the suspicion that she knew it was already going to happen. No offense, Grasso. Not trying to accuse you of corruption, but what I am trying to say is it smells fishy.
Yeah, and like I could see the UFC doing something with this when Valentina just gets cleared, them rebooking that matchup immediately. Like I
Yeah,
remember whenever we had the matchup, Robert Whitaker and Dricus du Plessis, and then the UFC wanted to put Dricus into that matchup with Adesanya, like how many weeks? 6 weeks apart? Not even.
yeah.
Like they're not rigging the matchups. I'm not saying that, but it's like they're trying to give people such an advantage over their opponent. Like hopefully it gets changed. The judging in MMA at the minute in recent times is shit. Like
Yeah,
it's
if anything,
real bad.
I'll do this. This will never happen. But Saudi Amato, if you ever want charity boxing match, we'll see how much Saudi Amato knows. Right, Benjamin MMA versus Saudi Amato or Benjamin MMA versus Chris Lee. I'm pretty sure they're both much bigger than I am. I don't know how much combat sports experience they have. Judging by how they score fights, none. And I don't even know if they were on this fight. If they were, and I look at those scorecards and it's to Saudi Amato and Chris Lee, I might cry because I am sick of these two twats. They proper wind me up. They're the two biggest judges that wind me up. Also, just judges in general, like what are they watching sometimes?
Yeah.
Like, what are they watching? Sometimes I feel like it'd just be better to do it with a computer that generates all the statistics, that has like a set of rules implemented into it, and it can't be wrong. It literally can't be wrong. Then all Bruce Buffer has to do is get like a printed sheet from the computer. This is what's happened. This is the winner. Human judges, just like human referees in football at the Turf Moor when they're trying to give Man United a decision because Man United are a big team, they won't ever get it right. It's been going on for years. How has something not been done about this yet? Like, how is Chris Lee and Saudi Amato employed? If I do a crap job, I'm not going to say where I work. It's nothing impressive, by the way, people. Don't worry about that. But if I do a bad job, I get fired. If Don Dada does a bad job, he gets fired. If you do something that breaks TikTok's community guidelines, that's Don Dada. You get taken down.
Yeah, You get
whether it's
fucked.
right or not, you get fisted. This is stupid.
But
Judges just don't get fired. If you become a judge, it's like,
yeah,
oh,
but
I'm set for life.
yeah, nothing happens. Like they have so many bad decisions against them, and they're still employed to do these big events.
It's
Like
stupid.
how? Like how? Do you remember? This is one that I was actually talking to somebody about this yesterday about the judging. It was like Cub Swanson's last fight. I can't remember who it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
I've gone blank. But anyway, when it went to the decision, to the scorecard, right? The guy who Cub Swanson has fought, I feel like a dick because I don't remember his name. He was like a plus 1,000 to win a decision, plus 1,000, and he lost. How the fuck does he lose that? Like, it's ridiculous. It is so shit. Some of the judging is terrible. Like a 10-8 round. How? How do you
Like
see
for
that?
these big fights, for bets as well, for this big fights, it's like what I'm going to start doing. If Chris Lee and Saudi Amato specifically are on a fight card, then I guarantee you this: I might predict one thing in my videos, but I will predict the exact opposite. Like if it's a main fight, like Leon Edwards and Colby Covington, I'll put it down as a draw. Chris Lee,
Yeah.
Saudi Amato, Leon Edwards, Colby Covington, depending where it is, draw. Because the UFC will want to do a rematch because that fight will do big pay-per-view buys. It's
That,
like blatant. And
yeah,
Dana White used to call this out. I don't hear nothing from Dana White anymore. And it
even
feels
the
like he's either been
referees,
silenced, even the referees, he's either been
he fucking
silenced.
sacked them.
Exactly. Like, I know Dana White doesn't employ the judges, but at the same time, the UFC should employ the judges. Like, why are judges from like the governing bodies coming in? Because they always have an agenda, it seems.
Yeah, it's just annoying. It's like when you're watching, it kind of like ruins the sport the way some of the judges just score the fights. Like, yes, some fights are close and they go one way, and a lot of people say they're a robbery. I get close fights, but like they fucked Valentina here by giving Garasso a 10-8 round.
Yeah,
Like
that's a terrible
they
card.
cost her that. And as well, now I'm not getting into the fighter pay shit, but Valentina will lose half her pay, I'm sure, because she didn't win. Because they
Like,
do
that
they
makes
not?
no sense either. And
Yeah,
also, this WWE merger, I don't know how much time we have left on this episode, but this
four
WWE
minutes.
merger and UFC merger. So very quickly, the UFC is making a lot more money than they're giving out. And Dana White, I don't care about this stupid shit argument he makes all the time as well. If you think running an MMA organization is easy, why don't you go do it yourself? No, Dana, this isn't about whether or not you've done well with the UFC or not. This is about, are you paying your fighters what they're owed? And you're not paying what they're owed. Fighters are severely underpaid compared to what the UFC makes. They've just got a massive deal with the WWE.
Yeah, I
They
just want
have
to
no
add something
excuse
in.
anymore.
I seen no, I don't know if this is true or not, but I seen people come out about their pays. In fact, I've got it on my phone here. Let me just go through who got paid what quickly while we're still here. So this is apparently the what people got paid for that fight night card there. So Alexa Grasso got 392,000. Shevchenko got 532,000. Kevin Holland got 194,000. JDM got 50K. How the
How
fuck
is
does
Jack
that
Della
guy?
Maddalena getting 50K?
Yeah, how? He's a big star. Like he is a big star on a co-main event of this. This is Royal Roses Jr. 16K. That has to be false. That can't
That's
be true.
terrible.
How the
That
fuck
is
can you pay him
terrible.
that amount of money? He
How can you pay a fighter? And I don't care what the UFC says, right? A lot of people make the argument, oh, well, they're not big pay-per-view stars. I don't care. This is a multi-billion, right? Not million, billion-dollar company that has just proved how rich it is with its deal with the WWE. Do you know how rich the WWE are? It's done a merger with them. It's the biggest individual combat sports promotion in the world, right, it can afford to pay every fighter, even the prelim fighter, should be earning 100k per fight. And that, in my opinion, should not be up for debate.
Yeah, and this is what else I'm going to say about the whole money situation. I mean, I think sometimes you look at people who get paid and you go, right, they realistically, that, like, I understand when they talk about big stars, he goes on about that. Then sometimes you see who they're paying loads of money to, and you're like, but he's not a big star, so how the fuck does that make sense? If the
Or Tony
UFC,
Ferguson, who was, and they didn't pay him nothing.
yeah, like realistically, if the UFC are going on about money, they should stop signing people who are shite and just make it the elite of the elite and then pay them more. Stop
Like they
signing
used
people that
to.
are shit. Like that guy there, just sorry, we have a minute left here. I just want to go over this quickly, right? And this was on the prelims. So this was a controversial decision, right? Look at this guy here, Daniel Lacerda. He hasn't won he's on what? He's on a 4-fight losing streak. Why the fuck is this guy in the UFC? Why? Out. Get him out. Make this the elite of the elite and pay these people properly. Why is a guy who's fucking on a 4-fight losing streak still there? Tony Ferguson, is he even that big of a star, really? The casual people, I don't think so. That guy's on what? Like a 6-fight losing streak? What? Get rid of these people, move them on, make the UFC the elite of the elite, the best of the best. Then these people will get paid more. Like some of the people, I remember Jeff Neal, I think it was during COVID. That guy not working in a restaurant, or maybe it was before COVID, but he was still fighting in the UFC. How like how this guy should be able to devote his life to this, pay his team. I'm not asking for them to be paid millions, but like 50k should be the minimum. These people are paid minimum
Yeah,
50k.
minimum. Based on what they have to pay out to. Right, anyway, thank you all very much. We've run out of time. We've both been on a big rant. Let us know in the comments what you think, and we'll see you all in the next episode.